It looked quiet as I first drove onto the gravel drive, not the kind of quiet that made me feel relaxed but the kind that weighed on me like the air became thick as soon as I stepped out of the car. The building was at the end of a narrow road about 40 kilometers out of town. I chose this place for the peace and solitude. I had a big project that needed my full attention and I wanted to get away from my usual surroundings. The small inn with old wooden panels outside and an old sign that creaked when the wind blew. At first glance it seemed cozy enough. I expected quiet nights and plenty of time to work, but I got something completely different. I remember dragging my suitcase inside and smelling something like damp wood in the lobby. The place had a rustic feel. The walls were covered with old photos from different periods of its history. Some showed fresh paint, others had scaffolding in the background and a photo of another owner standing in front of a newly built wing. The current owner is a tall thin man with tired eyes who greets me at the reception. He asks for my details and gives me a room key and says the building has been through many renovations and many owners. He laughs as if it is a small matter but his eyes keep looking towards the hallway. I get the feeling he wants to leave something in the hallway. The musty smell is like dust. Cloth and floor polish. My room is the second door on the left. The door creaks when I open it. The space is monotonous. A single bed, a small table, a chair and a narrow wardrobe. The walls are peeling paint and the floor creaks when I walk over to put my bag down. Everything is old but usable. The bathroom is cramped with a simple sink, a small shower and a toilet that looks like it has seen better days, but still enough for my needs. I sat on the edge of the bed, checked the mattress and felt the springs push back. The mattress was uncomfortable but I figured it would be fine for a few nights. I opened my suitcase and some notebooks. I planned to start working right away. The Wi-Fi signal was weak so I plugged in the Ethernet cable I brought with me. I sat down on the old wooden chair near the desk. My mind was focused on the data project. I had to analyze the charts I had to prepare. I tried not to think about the stench coming from the hallway or the faint sound of someone moving in the distance. After about an hour, my neck was starting to stiffen so I decided to stretch my legs and check out the rest of the inn. I walked down the hallway and noticed the floor shaking beneath me. They made a deep groaning noise every time I walked. The walls had a few old landscape paintings and cheap frames. One of them was leaning slightly to the right but I decided not to touch it. I found the kitchen at the end of the hallway after the lobby where a young woman stood behind the counter. She was wearing a polo shirt and simple jeans. She smiled quickly and asked if I needed anything. I asked about dinner options and she said that the inn usually serves basic meals around 7. When I asked about the place history she looked away as if she was trying to avoid the subject. I brushed it off and told her I would be back later. At dinner time I went back to the dining area. There were 3 small wooden tables with a few others. Guests were sitting eating but no one wanted to talk. They bowed their heads concentrating on their plates. The meal consisted of beans, rice and some grilled chicken. It tasted good although the room seemed heavier than before. I could hear the wind blowing outside and the old sign swayed back and forth with a faint clanging sound. After I finished eating I carried my plate to a small bin near the sink. As I walked back to my room I felt the temperature drop. My arms got goosebumps. I told myself it was just the cold of the night. The COR hallway was dim and I could barely see the doors in front of me. Back in my room I lock the door and get ready for bed. The lock clicks and I pull the door knob a few times to make sure. Then I hear a noise outside like footsteps on wood. I stay quietly listening to the footsteps seem to stop near my door then walk away. I rush over and look through the peephole. No one is there. My heart is pounding in my chest. I think maybe another guest has passed or maybe the landlord. I try to ignore it. I set the alarm on my phone and climb into the spring bed. It creaks under my weight. That night I wake up to the sound of running water. It comes from the bathroom. I push myself up, rubbing my eyes and turning on the night light. I can hear the tap running. I get out of bed across the cold floor and into the bathroom. The sink faucet is turned all the way on. Water is spilling around the drain, splashing on both sides of the sink. I stand there trying to remember if I left the tap on. I am sure I didn't give it a go. Boots were the only sound that broke the eerie silence of the woods. I always enjoyed solo camping trips but something about this trip felt different. The trees seemed to loom closer. The branches stretched out like crooked fingers in the fading light. I shook the feeling off, assuming it was from too many hours alone with my thoughts. That was when I saw him. It was a beautiful evening for hiking. Right, the man's voice startled me. It seemed to come out of nowhere. He was tall and thin with a hardened face that spoke of years spent outdoors. His smile Friendly, but there was something in his eyes that made my skin tingle. Yes, I replied, trying to keep my voice calm. I was just looking for a good spot to set up camp for the night. Well, you're in luck, he exclaimed. His enthusiasm was a little forced. I know a perfect clearing just ahead. Why don't I come? Your instincts tell me to be polite, decline and move on, but my face, the sun was setting fast and I was tired. Even though I had made the right decision, I nodded and followed him down the narrow trail we walked. He chatted happily about the area, pointing out various plants and rocks. His knowledge was impressive and I found myself relaxing a little. Maybe I had misjudged him. So what brings you out here alone? He asked, glancing at me with that nasty smile. We just need to clear my head, I said. Keep my answers vague sometimes. The city is too loud, you know. He nodded sagely. Oh, I know exactly what you mean. That's why I never leave these woods. They have a way of keeping you. The way he said it sent a chill down my spine, but before I could think about it we came to a small clearing. Perfect for camping, with a flat area for my tent and a natural fire pit surrounded by rocks. It was great, thanks, I said, shrugging, taking off my backpack. I appreciated the help. Oh, that is my pleasure, he replied, not moving to leave. Actually, why don't I help you set up camp? It will be dark soon, and four hands are better than two. I hesitated, not wanting to offend him, but also uncomfortable with the idea of him staying. Okay, I can manage. I'm sure you have your own camp to return to. He waved dismissively, meaninglessly. I was in no hurry, besides it wasn't safe for someone to be out here alone. You never know what kind of creature might be lurking in the dark. The emphasis he placed on a creature made my heart rate spike. I tried to smile and started to take down my tent, hoping that if I set up quickly he would leave while we worked. The stranger's behavior became increasingly strange. He asked personal questions, then abruptly changed the subject. When I avoided eye contact, he would dart into the woods around us as if he was watching something, and more than once I caught him staring at me with an intensity that made my skin crawl. Snail. The sun had set completely by the time we finished cleaning up. Now bathed in the silver moonlight, I stood back admiring my cozy abode when I felt a hand on my shoulder. I jumped up and turned to see the stranger just inches away from me. Face, you did good, he said in a low and growly voice, but there was still work to be done before the night was over. I stepped back, heart pounding. Thank you for your help, but I think I'm fine now. You should probably get back to your camp before it's too late. He cocked his head, reminding me uncomfortably of a predator assessing prey. Oh, but I'm exactly where I need to be. You see this forest, they get hungry sometimes, and it's been a long time since we've had visitors. My blood ran cold as the implications of his words sank in. I glanced at my tent, calculating the possibility of reaching for my phone before he could stop me. As if reading my mind, he stepped between me and the tent. Now let's not do anything rash. The night is long and we have much to discuss. I slowly back away, my mind racing to find a way out of this nightmare. Look at me, don't want trouble. Why don't we go our separate ways? He laughs, a cold sound echoing through the trees. But trouble has found you, baby. The moment you stepped into this forest you became a part of them, and they don't let you go easily. I turn to run, but he's faster than I expect. His hand clamps down the wrist, pulling me back with surprising strength. I stumble and fall hard onto the forest floor. Please, I gasp, trying to break free of his grip. Let me go, I won't tell anyone about this, I swear. His eyes sparkle in the moonlight. Mad joy spreads across his face. Oh, but this isn't easy.